Last weekend, my husband Adam and I went to the Classic Game Festival in Austin, and we demoed Adam's game, which is called First Earth. I have it on screen here, and I'm going to demo it for you as well. And I'll just say it was a big hit. Kids were walking up to the big screen that Adam had, and I think they kind of just naturally saw that it was a successor to Roblox or Minecraft, and they would just sit down and start playing, and then their parents would try to drag them away. And it was just really cool. People loved it. It's a big hit. This game is not completed yet. It's definitely a work in progress. I made a lot of the art for it. And my husband's the programmer, the solo developer. So here we go. You can see here, this is the URL for now. This might be subject to change, earth.suncap.com. I'll just show you around the world a little bit. So you can control it with a mouse. You can get to this URL in VR, you can get to it in a mobile browser, and really any browser at all. So it's a browser-based game. And I'll go through the technicals in some other video, but for now I'm just going to show you the actual world. So for now, as a character, this character, by the way, is going to be subject to change, the way she looks. There's going to be other characters that you can play, and it depends. Like right now I'm actually logged into the game, but if you just do an incognito browser or do it without logging in, you can still play the game just as well. Logging in is going to eventually give you a lot more power in the game. But so for now, basically, there's a lot of exploration. Adam's eventually going to add far mountains in the distance. Everything in the world is interactable. You can walk to those far mountains eventually. He's basing this on geographic data from Colorado, that satellite data. So this is actually a specific place in Colorado, which he's got. You can always join the Discord if you have any questions. If you press escape, you can get to this kind of menu, and the Discord link is right here. If you click away from the window, go somewhere else on the internet, then you're just automatically away in the game. So again, it's meant to be played with your mouse, not necessarily the keyboard. You can type in the keyboard and talk to other people. So, that's me saying talk. If there's other people in the game, you can see them in the distance. It might say stranger. And this column of smoke here shows that someone's got a campfire going. They're not actually there right now. But when you do have a campfire in the game, it gives you a way to get a URL. You can copy and paste the URL and then send a friend to your exact location in the game. So this looks like it's actually not even a campfire, it's a torch. So we have some basic crafting here. You can drag and drop different items. You can click on trees to create more branches. You can just to kind of experiment and see what allows you to create different things in the world. Now, Adam actually gave me the power, a lot of power, to mess with the crafting table and the merging of different objects. So I not only created some of this art, but I create how it, whether you can step up on the platform or what happens when you drag two things together. Not everything is interactable. A lot of things are, but I don't have it so that everything is interacting yet, but eventually you're going to be able to craft building blocks. You can make houses. You could create different kinds of food and harvesting tools. There's ways to create tools in this game. However, at this point, we don't have a whole lot of that going on yet. We do have you can sit in a spring. When you roll over different objects, it will tell you what they are. Running through the game, eating or basically running over edible things gives you an ability to run faster. You'll see all these little footprint things. You can click on them to make them go away, but they are created kind of like when you walk or run to some degree. The more you walk over an area, the more the footpath will be created. And that will help other players find where there's a lot of human activity. This right here is a campfire that has been out for a while, so let's see if there's anything we can craft with it. Look, there's a map. All these different flowers. you can create different things with that. I believe 2 picked carnations. Do they do something? I have no idea. There's a bouquet. So there's a pile of embers here. Crow feather. So I'm just like, I honestly don't even remember what all this stuff does. Some of it does stuff, some doesn't. 2 lumps of clay. Yeah, so there's a clay block. You can probably start crafting. This is kind of like the foundations of a house. And I believe somewhere, well, there's a cool little carnation wreath. There's different things, like, you know, there's kilns. And I am exploring the world and moving this camera around just by moving my mouse and right-clicking or left-clicking, so it's very easy. The controls are just extremely easy. What can you do with a cudgel? Probably a lot of things. But that would just take some exploring. This butterfly here, these 2 butterflies, are actually my early experiments with animation in the game. We're going to have animals, herds of bison eventually, things like that. But for now, I'll go through some of the animations in a separate video to talk about behind the scenes, what it takes. But we don't have a whole lot working yet, and a lot of that is just trying to figure out a pipeline that works. So I'll show you these rivers. Again, they're actually based on geographic data. In some iterations of the game, Adam had it so these like water things were turning slowly, so it looked like the water was moving, and I hope he gets that working again because it looked really cool. Sometimes we have fish in these rivers, and eventually notice that things kind of pop into existence. Part of that is just to make the game run very smoothly and quickly on any internet connection. I believe 2 dandelions together do something. I think it's a basket or... Well, never mind. Maybe it was a dandelion puff and a dandelion puff. There we go. It's a puff of wool. I won't go into all the different things you can craft and merge. There just are too many to name. I believe you can even get hides or things like that from fallen deer. And eventually, of course, you'll be able to hunt animals in the game and probably do all kinds of other things. There's going to be an inventory eventually where you can drag and drop things into your character, and the character can craft bags and satchels and bindles and things like that. These obelisks take some crafting as well. You can create granite stones and things like that. Here, these are sprouts, and these will eventually grow into some kind of plant, different kinds of plant like wheat or buckwheat, quinoa, things like that. And you can make it happen by dragging things onto it as well, but again, I don't remember all the different combinations. A lot of these just take some experiment. So there you go, it's a cabbage patch. So you can see there's quite a lot of just exploration possibilities in this game. This is kind of, this area here, you'll see there's a lot of stuff that's persistent. This is kind of our experimental area where we're crafting and making a lot of things. There's a kiosk. Some of this art you can consider temporary. I would like to make some of it look better. This umbrella I just threw together really quickly. Part of it is because the objects in the game right now can only fit on a small square about that big. So this umbrella is actually taking up only one little square, but we wanted it to act as an entire roof of a 10 by 10 block. So it was just an experimental thing to throw together. But most things in the game, or pretty much everything in the game right now, can only fit on one, I guess, 4 foot by 4 foot square, which would be about that big. Adam was inspired by Ultima Online, which was a really popular game back in the early 2000s, I think in the 1990s, maybe. It's probably early 2000s. I'd heard a lot about this game, and people still talk about how great it was. I missed out on it myself, but a lot of it I think is just a lot of fun, like player interactions, PvP, which is player versus player mechanics, and also kind of social crafting, social interactions. And so Adam would actually like to have that in this game as well, where characters can develop skills and traits that other characters don't have, and then use those traits against other characters, or to kind of create more of a little empire for themselves. People are eventually going to be able to claim land and build palaces or whatever they want. And as things go on, I am going to just keep creating art for the game because I find that pretty fun to do. You can see here, exploration really is just a big part of it. You can go pretty far throughout this game. Even right now, it's not fully created. It's kind of a prototype in many ways. There, I made a bag. And I remember from my crafting that if you put something really cool in a bag, you can create a little gift item. But I don't see anything cool and pretty around here. It would have to be something like a rose or something kind of rare. So I'm just going to keep moving on. Again, eventually there'll be an inventory and ways you can carry things around, but for now we don't have that working yet. I believe if I just stop, stuff will kind of pop into existence. Adam also gave me the power to adjust the rarity of items, so like where they appear, what kind of biome they appear in, and how rare they are. So there's definitely items that I've made very rare that you won't see very often, but there are a lot of things like sneezeweed or feathergrass, mounds, things like that, dirt, rocks, those are all pretty common. Here on this slope, it looks like we have a lot of iron ore. And we have some sandstone, just lots of stones. So you can see that on this particular slope, it looks like plants don't grow a whole lot. Climb up here and see. That looks like it might be a tree on fire. So I know that Adam's got brush fires working, or he's been starting to add that. You can also use the arrows on your keyboard to navigate, so you don't necessarily have to use the mouse. You'll notice that not all of the trees have collisions working. Eventually you won't be able to just walk through trees or things like that. Yep, and eating quinoa made me run pretty fast, and I've reached the edge of the world. So again, this world is somewhat limited in scope and size at the moment, but it is eventually going to cover the entire United States based on geographical data. Right now, this is the size of probably like one county in Colorado. So it's probably even smaller than that. So just imagine very much an endless world where it's also an MMO that is not going to be sharded. So in other words, it's expansive and it can be scaled to kind of an infinite amount of players. And that's the idea that Adam was going for. That's something that hasn't been done yet on any platform that we're aware of. Especially not in your browser, not in a web browser. Web browsers are accessible to anyone. The language of this game is going to be English, dominant English, so it might not be as friendly to foreign language participants, but it's possible that Adam might change some of that as well. Right now there's a day-night cycle where it's daylight for most of the day, there's a sunset, there are stars that come out at night. The nighttime lasts for a lot shorter than the daytime. Adam plans to eventually add weather, clouds, things like that, so the world will be a lot more dynamic with animals and birds and so forth. This right here is an apple tree. And I believe, well, apparently you can't just get an apple. Oh, there's an apple. Okay. But yeah, I think if you drag a rock of some sort onto a brush fire, you can make a campfire. but I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, there we go. Looks like here's a kind of rare plant, or a plant that's a little bit more rare, big sagebrush. So these tortoise shells, I'd like to, I think it's, oh no, that's a gem spruce. Well, eventually, like I said, there's going to be more things you can craft, more things you can create. Here's a water clock, something pretty interesting. And it looks like a cowbell. So there's some mint, I believe. Oh, I ate a mint. So that means I can go real fast. And I believe that if you right click on the fire, or okay, just click on the fire, you'll get it copied to the clipboard a specific URL, and this means that if you share this with a friend, your friend can then come into the game at this exact spot. So this is First Earth, and thank you for letting me demo it. I hope that it will have a lot more done the next time I make a video about this, and enjoy playing.